Ukraine urgently needs new soldiers and is increasing pressure on men to sign up. The government recently passed a new mobilization law which from this weekend means that Ukrainian men will have 2 months to register for potential conscription. If they don't sign up, they'll be punished. DW's Carolina Chimoy reports.
Sign up or face the consequences. The queues at this conscription center are orderly, but the men here say the process itself is not. For some, it's their second or third attempt, and they've come prepared for a long wait.
If I have to register, I'll do it. And if I get called up into army service, I'll go. But look at the problems. We've been trying to register here. If there's no order here, what must it be like in the army?
Ukraine's new mobilization rules mean that all 18 to 60-year-olds must register and carry paperwork with them. Those who don't will be punished. Many here are wary of the new policy, so they want to remain anonymous.
Men who don't register will lose all their rights. We won't be able to do anything officially, get a job, rent a house. Men without the right papers will have no rights in Ukraine.
This is where Ukrainian men have to register to be on the mobilization list to potentially be called into war. According to officials of the armed forces, Ukraine's military needs at least 500,000 more soldiers. The government says this registration drive will help speed up the recruitment process. The new law also lowers the conscription age from 27 to 25. That's encouraged some young men to volunteer early. Doing so means they can choose a unit instead of being assigned one by the state.
My main motivation is to help the people who are defending our country, to replace the guys who need a rest after more than 2 hard years. I want to destroy the enemy and defend our country.
But it's not always so simple. This lawyer gets around 30 calls a day from men trying to get a draft deferment.
These are calls from those who are entitled to a deferment and do not know how to submit the documents correctly. The question is not how to evade military service.
He questions the legality of the restrictions on men's rights that the new law imposes on men who fail to register.
I believe that the right to education cannot be restricted even during war. The new rules state that people could in some cases be denied medical services if they don't register at a conscription office. I think that's not right.
The new law does not provide for demobilization. Families had been hoping for a 3-year time limit for those serving at the front. Many are fatigued or injured. 2 years into war, the assumption that Ukraine would win within a couple of months has disappeared, says veteran Alexander Batalov. Now others must fight.
People thought that someone else would fight for them. They thought the army was so powerful that it could deal with everything. They fight and they don't get tired. The country just put the responsibility on the army. Now you must do your duty, because everyone wants rights but no one wants responsibilities. The state gives one thing and demands the other.
And now the state is demanding more young men stand up for their country.
Well, military analyst Frank Ledwich is still with us. Frank, is it realistic for Ukraine to think it can boost its forces by 500,000 this way?
No, it's not. It's not just recruiting the individuals, and it's surprising, by the way, that only now is a draft registry of all eligible males being set up. I suspect, however, they're building on something already there. But, of course, those people have to be properly trained. One of the constraints on volunteering now is that people take the view that training is either going to be very little or insufficient. And indeed, one unit I know of advertises as part of its as part of its offer, if you like, that we offer you 10 weeks training. Very few units do. So look, these people need to be trained, formed, and deployed, and all of that is going to take a long time. And 500,000 is simply it's simply too many. I think the target should be far fewer than that, something attainable. And that's the problem with Ukrainian messaging, that they set targets they can't achieve.
And the point there you made about training, is that being widely discussed there? Because it's been one of the criticisms that people have had about what Russia is doing, effectively just throwing bodies at this fight. And it's, from what you've said, it sounds like Ukraine, out of desperation, is starting to move along that path.
Yes, that's right. And indeed, only last week, we heard an announcement from the Ukrainian Justice Department that convicts were going to be conscripted into the army. And that, of course, is what the Russians did with some great effect. But, of course, I would suspect the Ukrainians aren't going to use them the same way as the Russians, which was as cannon fodder. But it does point up the situation that the Ukrainians are in, and it's very dire. But there we are. That's admiring the problem. How do we solve it? And I suspect this is where Western powers may have some input here in upping the degree and length of training that they offer. Right now, it's pretty exiguous, to be candid with you. Pretty insignificant in the grand scheme of things.
OK, thanks for that, Frank. A military analyst, Frank Ledwich.
Thanks very much.